All right, in this video, we're going to change the brake master cylinder on a 2006 Honda Accord V6. The issue I'm having with it is the brakes are going all the way to the floor, and it's not happening immediately. It's taken about 10 seconds for the pedal to go to the floor, and it's not leaking any fluid anywhere. So I've diagnosed this as an internal failure of the brake master cylinder, which is located right there, and we are going to take it out. So removing the master cylinder is pretty simple. You just have these two lines to remove, one here, and then you have that nut there in the back, and the fourth location is right there. I'm going to spray a little bit of penetrant on these fittings to make this go just a little bit easier. Alright, while that penetrant is setting in, I'm going to remove some of this fluid to avoid making a mess. Remove the electrical connector. With a 12mm wrench, I can loosen up these two fittings. The one in the front and the one in the back. Okay, so I got those two lines out of the way, and notice it's got a slow drip to it now, so it's a good thing I drained the fluid, and I put some towels down there, or in my case an old sock, to absorb some of that fluid that's leaking out. And now I'll quickly want to remove those two bolts to get the master cylinder out of here. And this other bolt is a little hard to get to. Okay, so comparing the old master cylinder with the new master cylinder, they look pretty much identical, so I feel pretty confident that I got the right part. So the next step now is going to be to bench bleed this master cylinder. Now suppose you don't have a vise or a bench to do the bench bleed. Well, that's not a problem, because with this C-clamp, I'm going to clamp this master cylinder to my toolbox. Alright, and there it is. The C-clamp has attached the master cylinder to my toolbox, and now I can perform my bench bleed. So this master cylinder that I bought was supposed to come with a brake bleeding kit, and it did not. But that's not a big deal, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm going to go with a syringe style brake bleeding kit. Basically what I'm going to do with this is you take the brake fluid and you're going to put it in each hole and press it in, so you're going to do like a reverse style flush to get all the air out of the system. The first step would be filling the master cylinder reservoir with brake fluid. I'm going to be careful not to get any air in there, so I'm just going to let this air out. And then nice and slowly push it in. I can hear the air getting forced out. Alright, and then I'll just repeat this about 3 or 4 times. And I can still hear the air getting pushed through. Alright, I think that side's done for now. Now I'm going to work on this front one. Okay, and once you're confident that the master cylinder has been bled completely, you can go ahead and reinstall it on the vehicle. Also be advised, there were 2 lock washers in addition to these nuts that held the master cylinder to the vehicle. Okay, so I've got the master cylinder on and everything's bolted down, And I just wanted to say that I had a really hard time getting this nut on. It's right there. So what I had to do was I took this magnet, I put the nut on the magnet, and then I threaded it down in here, got it on the stud, and I only got about a half a turn out of it, which was enough for me to put my socket on and then tighten it down. And you know, I fought that for about 15 minutes until I did this, and then this worked first try. So the final step to this project now is to bleed the brakes. And there's about 3 ways you can do it. One, you get a partner inside the car to pump the brakes while you go through each wheel, or you could get one of these cool power bleeders where you pressurize the master cylinder and then you can do it yourself. Or the last thing you could do is actually just take it to a shop and have them flush the entire system for you, and they could do that for generally about $100 or less. And this is why it's necessary to brake bleed, to get all the air out of the system. And during the bleeding process, be sure to keep your master cylinder full. You'll be surprised how much fluid you use during the bleeding process, and you don't want to suck any air into the system, as it would completely defeat the purpose of bleeding the system. So I flushed the system and topped it off with fluid, and now let's go on a test drive and see how it does. All right, I'm on my test drive and I immediately notice a difference. This car stops great, the pedal feels right where it needs to be, and I couldn't be happier. I mean, before I would hit the brakes like that and I couldn't even get the ABS to engage, and now effortlessly it bites really hard. So pretty happy with it. Thanks for watching the video.